Hello, Anna. Welcome. First and foremost, thank you, Ben, for coming to the show. I welcome you to the show. This is the Cyber Weekly, a show where we talk about cybersecurity and different aspects of it. And you're joining us for this segment where we are diving deep into the world of SOC, Security Operational Center. You definitely share a lot based on your experience. But if someone is tuning in right now, then what should they be expecting from this conversation, and what will they gain after this conversation?
Well, thank you very much, Dale. And I want to thank you for having me in the show. Well, what you should expect from the show is exciting, especially for newbies, should I call them newbies, or anyone intending, to join the SOC domain. Cybersecurity is quite a sea, but in this case, SOC is a very interesting aspect of cybersecurity that we are going to dive into it this moment, and then you should buckle up. You should buckle up. Thank you.
You have said it all. So now, what is a SOC? For starters, definitely people may think that you are working in distributing of socks or something like that. What exactly is this?
Yeah, that is right. By the these jargons that we have around here, we might be understanding it, but you see, a lot of people out there may not be really conversant with such such terms. So yeah, SOC is not like socks that we are wearing. No, it's not that. But in cybersecurity terms, SOC is a security operations center. Okay, let's look at it in terms of, okay, it should look like this. Let me just paint this picture. It's like an emergency response team, okay, of the digital world. Now, just imagine that team that's waiting to respond at any incident that comes at an organization. So just look at it in terms of an emergency response team of the digital world. So you can also think of it as, a 24/7 cybersecurity, command center. You see, or if you are inquisitive enough, you'll always see those fancy screens, that are lining the walls of these centers. Yeah, they are fancy
There's
actually.
LED lights and all that, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so you will think these are just in the movies, but actually that is how a SOC operation center looks like. Yeah, but now the guys who are operating these things are what we call SOC analysts. Okay, so these SOC analysts are going to use these screens not to watch movies, but they are going to use these to monitor. Okay, detect, respond to threats before, of course, the bad actors turn your network into their playground. So, in other words, let's say the SOC guys are like the first line of defense. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, so these guys are the front line defense where logs, alerts, incidents are analyzed in real time to protect an organization's digital assets. So in short, let's say if cyber threats were super villains, super villains are the bad guys in a movie, right? Yeah, if the cyber threats are super villains, then let's say SOC would be the team of heroes, those guys who are keeping the world safe. Superheroes like Superman, Batman, but now these are Superman and Batman of the digital world. Yeah, so that is SOC for you.
Yeah. Also me, I would like to highlight it because also me, I'm also a SOC analyst. So sometimes people use the word cybersecurity analyst also. So yeah, it's all means the same technical jargons and all that. And there are levels to it. SOC level 1, 2, 3, depending on how well you are in the industry. Yes.
Exactly.
If you're not diving deep to it, now let's walk us through a normal day of life of a SOC analyst.
Well, in other words, you mean a SOC analyst work plan? That's what you're trying to say?
Yeah, a day
So,
in the
well,
life of a SOC analyst. How does it look like,
okay.
a day in life?
Okay, so now let me first start in this way. There is a SOC that does 24/7. Okay, if you know what I mean, 24/7 monitoring of the systems. Then there is SOC that will do the normal normal time, that is 8 to 5, but leveraging the other SOC teams who they partner with. Okay, so for the ones who do 24/7, they are actually doing what we call log diving. Actually, their first thing. Now, let's say that this is for all. It doesn't matter whether you're doing because there are organizations, you see, they cannot manage to pay for staff to do 24/7. Okay, so that's why they'll leverage the other SOCs who do this as their work. Then these others will do just a 8 to 7. But it doesn't matter whether your team does 8 to 5. What happens is this: what in the mornings you start with a log dive, okay? Because of course you need your daily dose of SIM alerts. I mean, you have to know what the heck is going on, right? Yeah, so you have to know what alerts, and you're going to try to categorize these alerts. Of course, you have to know which ones are seemingly critical, those are that are high, medium, low, yeah, those, and also the false positives. Okay, so that is your first thing you're doing in the morning, first trying to ensure what the heck is going on right now. And that applies for the SOC that does 8 to 5, and then the SOC that does 24/7. When I say 24/7, doesn't mean that they're working from today to tomorrow. No, they do it in shifts. Okay, yeah, they do it in shifts. So you just know that it's a job that can work for shifts. Then if you're working only 8 to 5, then it means you leverage the capabilities of those others who do. Yeah, many organizations, for instance, I know for many of the organizations in Uganda here do that. Okay, yeah, they leverage those out there, while most of their staff only work 8 to what to 5. Yeah, then they do what we call alert triage. This is sifting through false positives like a gold miner. If you know how gold miners, go, sifting through stuff. And yeah, so they also try to check through, because of course there are a lot of false positives in these things. The alerts will tell you, okay, this is critical, yet actually, I mean, it's nothing to be worried about. Yeah, so it's also good to go through these things before you jump out and make noise about it. Of course, by making noise, I mean throwing in a report telling about the criticality of something. You have to make sure that you analyze and see. That's why I like that part where you say that also they are called cyber security analysts. That analyst part is not just there, okay? It means that you have a skill to analyze something, okay? So you have to analyze these things before you come up with a conclusion. That is what actually it is. Okay, yeah. So, and of course the occasional incidents response sprints when things go south. Like I already told you, these guys are the frontline defense. Their work is also to respond from that level, okay, because they are seeing threats right there. So what do they do in the event that something is happening in real time at that moment? They don't just look at it. They have the skill to respond to these incidences. Okay, so that was top layer. Let me dive a little deep into this. Okay, so while you've checked out the top layer, there are components within what I've just said. So monitoring alerts from SIMs. SIMs is supposed to be a part of you, and you have to know that you'll work with SIMs. Okay, these are security
information and events manager.
Events manager tools. Yeah, so these tools, there are many. They come in all types and sizes. You have to know that this is going to be a part of you and it will be part of your toolbox, okay? You will have to use them and understand how to work with the information that it feeds you with. Yeah, but like I already told you, you have to be very good at analysis. It's going to throw all types of stuff at you. But are you going to also write a report about it as it is? No, your work is to analyze. If you don't know how to analyze, then I mean, that will make you not useful, okay? So it will do its part, but you have to analyze this information. Yeah, so why you need these SIEMs are always going to be on the lookout. Remember that the bad guys do not take a coffee break. You get what I'm saying? They are working day and night to get to you, and they're looking just for one mistake, one gap. Okay, you'll work every day to ensure security. They are trying very hard to close all gaps. For them, they're looking for only one mistake, one gap, this one day. So you can imagine how he will or she will keep you busy. Now you cannot take a break from monitoring those alerts. Okay. Yeah. Then investigating suspicious activities. Like I told you, now this investigation is analysis, by the way. While you're monitoring alerts, you have to be able to investigate these suspicious alerts. While they call them suspicious alerts, they are not yet rubber stamped as conclusive threats. Okay. These are still suspicious in nature. Now it's your work to ensure that you investigate. Okay. Is that, for instance, a legitimate login? I see. Now that is the kind of thing you try to see all factors surrounding legitimate logins. Does it look like a legitimate login, or is it seemingly coming from a source, for instance, or an IP that is not part of your network environment? So these are the kind of things you have to make sure that you're looking at. You have to be very good with analysis and investigation. Threat hunting is number 3. You have to, learn how to threat hunt. Okay, looking for those signs of attackers, for instance, lurking in the shadows of your network. Yeah, so you don't just sit there monitoring, investigating. No, you have to also be able to keep on scavenging your network, for any signs of an adui, if you know what I mean. Yeah, a bad guy in your network, okay? And then importantly, very important aspect is documentation, okay? Documentation, and this goes for every arm of cybersecurity. Documentation and reporting is very important, okay? Because if it's not documented, we shall say it did not happen, okay? Documentation is what shows that something happened. That is the proof, okay? So you have to document whatever happened in the course of the day, okay? Now, that is the report that will inform of exactly, for instance, what was critical that day, what was medium, what was high, what was low, and what was stopped, denied, and so on. Yeah. So benign. Yeah. So basically, this report is going to bring out everything in that document, and then and quite understandably, okay, to the one who should read, or for reference in future. Yeah. So reporting and documenting is very important, and that comes always at the end of the day. Yeah. Does it mean that you don't keep some notes while you're going through these activities in the day? You keep notes. You can always have your notes. You can work on it digitally, or you can have pen and paper. But then there is the overall report that we're talking about that has to be there every day. At least put something aside and send it to the places where they're supposed to go. Yeah, because every organization has their reporting structure. Yeah, so it's very important that you know that these are these are what are included in a daily in the daily activities of a SOC analyst.
Yeah, you've highlighted strongly on the reports, and yes, it's usually challenging, especially when it comes to responding to incidents at the same time reporting. What strategy usually works for you best when it comes to that?
When I am reporting, you mean?
Yeah, because we have two parts. So yeah, actually working on an incident here and then,
Yes.
but again, you also have to report it. How do you
Yes.
usually handle such a situation and
Oh,
to ensure that you also deliver at the end of the day? Is there a particular system you already have that works for you? How does it look like?
yes. Now, I think there for everything that happens, if you have a guideline, then that's like work already have done. So there's what we call cybersecurity frameworks, or should we coin it as SOC frameworks? But since this is under cybersecurity, these frameworks are going to help guide you on how you handle your daily your daily work. Okay, as you do you respond to you monitor and write your report, there are frameworks that you have to follow. And I'm going to give you like I think two that work for me very well, and which is good for every SOC analyst who is intending, and that one who is already really in the business of SOC. The NIST cybersecurity framework, I believe many of you have already heard about this, which has internal domains such as identify. It is going to actually, all these domains are well defined. Yeah, they are well defined, and they guide you on how to handle everything SOC. Okay, so the cybersecurity framework is a go tool for me. You'll find that it is going to describe identify domain, and then the protect domain, and then detect domain, respond, recover, and then in the latest of cybersecurity framework, NIST cybersecurity framework, which was I think published last year, February, they added another domain that is called govern. Okay, it's called govern. Now, all these separate domains are actually interconnected. Now, these will guide you on how to handle your SOC activities, okay, in a very structured way, that at the end of it, you have actually done an excellent job with your tasks for the day. So, but you must understand these frameworks. It's not a thing that you do because I know this. There are certain things that you need structure. Okay, you need structure, and it's good for you to work with the structure, then add your innovation. But this is one of those tools that would be really helpful for you as a SOC analyst. And then one that is quite directly related is what we call the SAN Incident Response Framework. Now, this teaches you how to prepare. Now, the domains in there are preparation, then identification, containment, eradication, recovery, and lessons learned. Now, you're seeing how these things are structured. It shows you and tells you exactly how to move from point A to point B to point C to point D. Now, it's not telling you that you don't innovate. Please, there are so many other things that work from the sides, but have a guideline. Just like Uganda has laws, right? We do have laws in Uganda. Now, those are what we call guidelines. But this should be like now for those who are Christians, and they, of course, every religion has its guideline book. For us, we have the Bible. Now, there are guidelines that tells you do like this, do like this, but doesn't it allow you to do another good that has not been stipulated in there? You are allowed to do any other good that's not stipulated right there in the guidelines. So feel free to use any other good, but make sure that your primary guidelines are things like what we are mentioning here. So if you have the the NIST cybersecurity framework, and then you have the SANS incident response framework, these are already guidelines for you. That will help you as long as you understand them. Trust me, you will already have a footing, very good knowledge on how to manage your daily activities in regard to this. So right from the time you come to work to the end of the day, you already know exactly what to do, plus the other innovations that you have to make these things come to pass. Just make sure you have this in place, your guidelines in place, and you'll be good to go. And you might ask, just a moment, you might ask, why these two? Why these two guidelines that I'm giving you in terms of the frameworks that I just mentioned up here? Well, it's because just like I mentioned, first of all, there's a lot of chaos, so it gives a lot of structure to the chaos that we have already. Okay. Then when an incident happens, it has already told you where to go, right? How to do this and how to do that, how to respond, isn't it? And then remember that when there's an incident, for those who have not yet experienced incidents, some of us have been in situations where the incidents, the emotions run high, right from the top management to the least person down. There's a lot of emotions running really high. But when there are these guidelines, what happens? You will know how structured everything is. You know what to do, you know your role, you know when to report, you know how to respond to this and to that. Now, without a framework, you are just running around like a headless chicken. Now, these frameworks will keep you sharp and efficient. That's what I should tell you. So these things, very good for you. I recommend.
Yes, what you talked about the frameworks, and that reminded me of when I was watching a training with I don't know if you're a fan of Terminator, the director of Terminator.
Yes.
And I've forgotten his name actually. Forgive me, those who know him. So he was saying that the best way of
I know the actor himself.
So he was saying that
of course we always remember the actors, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, please go on.
So he was saying that the best way of usually coming up with something is first you need to know what is there, which is basically the rules of the game. Then you break the rules of the game after knowing the rules of the game. So sure. What you're trying to say is first know what is actually there on ground. Then you now come up with something basing on what you have seen on the ground.
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah. So tooling and certification, there's always that thing. So what is more important, learning more tools or certifying? Or they all come bundled together? Yeah.
Well, let's say that's a classic debate. There are the pros, and then there are those who are the cons. But I would like to look at tools as swords, okay? And then certifications like the training to use the swords, okay? Yeah, now let's say if I, for instance, handed you a sword, okay? But you do not know how to wield this tool, then you will be just swinging around the metal, right? You have not been taught how to work with the metal. Yeah. So does it mean that you cannot kill? Yes, you will kill, but what brings about the efficiency with the sword is the training. growing up, I used to like Chinese movies. You'll always find Master Shang Fu. Yeah, now those are the guys who are going to train you into something very deadly, right? Now, before you're trained, you notice that a person has his arms and legs, but and even a sword and any other type of weapon, but they don't really know how to work with these things well. But then, when they are trained, then you see there's a difference. Okay, the same sword, the same legs, same arms, different outcome. Okay, so I think. But anyway, let's see. If you also have knowledge, that I was still talking about the sword. But if you also have knowledge, but then of course you go to school, to certification school, and you go and learn things, but then you also don't have the tools. Then you're just like going with a rule book to a for instance, if you're going to a war and you just have knowledge without the tool, then also, I mean, you are going to a war with a rule book. I mean, how does the rule book help you in a war? So, what is now my verdict? I'll start by saying, skill. Of course, you want to know which one beats the other. Skill, in this case, will beat certification, yes, but that is not the final. All right, because you also need certification. Now, understand that certifications will open for you the doors. You get what I'm saying? With those certifications, you are seen. With the skills like follow the certifications. It's only the hacker who doesn't need the certification. Yeah, but you as an ethical hacker, by the hacker I mean the ones who are doing things in darkness, but you who is trying to stop the hacker, organizations want to know you by your certifications. So as much as you have the skill, your certification is going to open for you those opportunities. Okay, so we should say you'll go for both. Okay, you will go for both. You will need both. Okay, though, like I mentioned, skill beats certification, but you want those, then you have to go for both. Okay, you have to go for both. So know your craft, but what's going to prove it will be your certification. So your hands-on skills might be golden, but make sure that you have the certification to make it glitter for employers to see. And that's how they'll know that you're certified in doing what you say you can do.
Yeah, that's the best way of actually putting it. It's like having the degree, it's a bare minimum which is required for any organization to employ you.
Yeah,
So
sure.
without it, even if you're good, it's very hard to be employed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't. But
Yeah.
what will help you will be that paper. It looks like paper, but that's what really the organization is looking for. Then you come and show them now your skill.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now when it comes to the skills themselves, the tooling, what are the bare minimums if you're saying, okay, me, I'm a SOC, and these are the things which I would require to learn to be good at what I am going to be doing on a daily basis?
Yeah, okay. Well, now I feel you're now talking. At least now these guys are going to, at least the listeners or the ones who are watching, I think they will now understand what they're supposed to have right there in their arsenal. So I would say, as a SOC analyst, your toolbox has to be packed. But there are some of those that I should call the heavy hitters. Okay. And like I already mentioned initially, if you remember, I mentioned something about SIEMs. Okay, a SIEM is your number one in your toolbox. Okay, and some of the examples of SIEMs are Splunk, Microsoft Sentinel, LStack, Waza, FortiSIEM. I mean, there are many. They, like I mentioned already initially, these things come in all sizes, all shapes, but they are still all SIEMs. It's up to you to choose. what works for the organization best. Yeah, so that is SIMS. Then you have to be very good with threat intel, by the way. The SOC analysts are not only monitoring, and they are doing threat intelligence into the dark net, into the surface net, and so on. So they also need what we call threat intel capabilities, virus total, alien vault, OTX, then threat intelligence feeds. If you've heard of the MISP, others would prefer to call it MISP. Yeah, these are all things that you should acclimatize yourself with. Let them be close to you. These are things that will really help you as a soldier. Of course, what people don't know in cybersecurity, actually, you are a digital soldier. Yeah, and now the funny thing is that, should I say, the ironic part of it is that you are actually the frontline soldier, you as a SOC analyst. So you have to have very good guns to wait for the adui. Otherwise, if you don't have cool guns and dangerous ones, then I can assure you, you won't really like what the enemy will do. And then also, you have to be very good with forensics and malware analysis. Like I told you, you are at the front line. You have to know how to analyze stuff. Forensics is another word for analysis, another word for investigation. So you have to be very good with analysis or forensics. Now, malware analysis, because malware is the #1 guy against organizations. So you have to know this. Autopsy, Wireshark, CyberChef. These are some of the tools you should have at your in your arsenal. Okay, if I say arsenal, I don't mean the other funny team. Me, I'm a Manu, so what I mean is your storehouse of weapons. So have such weapons available for you. On a rainy day, you might need to analyze certain malware that is coming through. What if it is it's a Trojan ransomware? You have to know the characteristics of this kind of malware. Yeah, so it is important that you have these forensics tools and malware analysis weapons with you. Then endpoint detection and response, we call them EDRs, very important for you. Things like CrowdStrike, you have to be conversant with it. You see, recently we had an issue with CrowdStrike with the update that they threw in, and killed a lot of disorganized a lot of organizations, because of course there was this blue screen that comes up. But does it mean that CrowdStrike doesn't know what they're doing? These guys are very brilliant fellas. That was something that happened, but doesn't mean that they don't have great stuff. CrowdStrike tools are very, 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 very potent tools here. So these EDRs, including also Microsoft Defender ATP, these are very, very good EDRs that you should be conversant with, because these are the kind of stuff that you'll find in organizations that they're using. These are just to mention but a few. There are more than these, but the catch is in the EDR. Make sure that you are conversant and you know how to work with select EDRs. Okay, then Active Directory attacks and investigations. That is very important. You have to have tools, for instance, things to do with Bloodhound. You've heard of Mimikaz and Pincastle. These are things that you have to, have in your arsenal, or at least know how to use them. Yeah, because you never know when that rainy day comes and you will be needed to work with these things. And let me just make something very clear here. When we talk of SOC analysts actually know how to to do pen tests and stuff. Let no one think that when you're a SOC analyst, you're just in the defense and stuff. Most SOC analysts, or if not all, have knowledge.
General knowledge of
yes,
pen
of pen test, because you see, even if you're playing defense, you must know how the enemy does their stuff. Now, if you know the TTPs, okay, of an enemy, okay, then you are going to the
Tactics,
TTPs.
yeah.
Those are the tactics, procedures, and what is the other T?
Tactics, techniques, and
Techniques,
procedures. Yeah.
and techniques, So you have to know these tactics, what's it again? Tactics, techniques,
Tactics,
and
techniques, and
it's
procedures.
like
Yeah.
it's like a tongue twister.
Tongue twister.
Yeah. So those
Yeah.
tactics and the techniques and the procedures that the threat actor uses, it's very important for you as a SOC analyst to also know. How does he do this? How does it, what are the procedures he uses? And what about the tools? What does he leverage? It's important for you to know. That's why it is important for you to do offensive certification if possible. And you understand how things happen from the other side. While I'm defending, you see, the armies we have, they know how to defend, but they also know how to attack, right? So if you know how attack happens, it is easier for you to defend. But if you only study defense, I mean, how are you going to defend against an actor whose tactics, whose techniques, whose procedures you don't know? So don't be deceived or be misled. Know that you will have to be a good SOC analyst, you have to know what happens from also the offensive side of things. Okay, it is very important. It's very important. Yeah. So I think that is it.
I wanted you to touch base also on things to do with if you're looking at sandboxes.
Okay.
Is it something also key that one should also leverage when they are performing these incident response situations?
Yeah, just a moment. Sandboxes are very important, especially in malware analysis. Yeah, what sandboxes do is they allow you to have a confined environment, okay, away from the production environment. So you're going to try and test, okay? For instance, a malware. You're going to create a sandbox. Okay, that was already already pricey that you can
Partially
buy.
available.
Then there are those that you can even create your own. For instance, if you're working with Kali Linux or any of these VMs, you can not VMs, but I mean actually the VirtualBox or VMware or whatever
VMware.
other hypervisor that you might prefer. You can always have, for instance, if you want to test something in a Windows environment, okay, you can always install in this virtual space something of that kind. For instance, Windows. You want to check what type of malware attacks Windows, okay? Then now this Windows VM is going to give you the information, okay, that would a picture of what would happen in a live Windows environment. Now that is already your sandbox. You are putting it in a confined situation where you're going to analyze something, but then you carry the lessons learned to the live environment. So if you know that, okay, this comes and attacks this part of the operating system or goes for the registry, then that already gives you knowledge of what would happen. But then also there are online sandbox solutions. For instance, hybrid. VirusLoto is one of those. These hybrid analysis. These are guys. They give you free,
Any
but of
run.
course, any run. But you see, they give you that free option, but of course, not robust enough, right? You would need to pay something to get all the features. But these online sandboxes are really good. Why do I say they're good? Because they take away the problem from you. Sometimes, if you have your sandbox in your environment, there are certain malware that are really good, very, very intelligent malware that can escape your sandbox and flies out into your environment, and that could be dangerous for you. So I would advise you to leverage the sandboxes of the online sandboxes. Paid version is very recommended because they are the ones to face that problem. Your work is to get information about this problem and then see how to protect yourself. But the problem is theirs, okay? It is theirs, not yours. So that's a little bit about sandboxes.
Okay, now we're now going to what works best in terms of investigation. But before we go into that, I'd forgotten to talk about NDRs. You didn't highlight about that. How do they play a part in terms of investigations? Because most of the time you find as an analyst, you find you're playing around with mostly NDRs, which definitely help with the aspect of user behavior analytics and all that. So could you elaborate more on that? Now, if you're delving into the aspect of you've talked about EDRs, but you did mention things to do with now the NDR solutions and how they help benefit, because as a SOC, definitely it's one of the things we usually play around with also a lot. So how do they, especially with the user behavior analytics, they usually do a very good job of that. So could you talk about it a bit?
Yeah, India, that is very important. It's very important that also a SOC analyst should have this in their arsenal. Yeah, just like I already mentioned those that above, it's a relative of the EDR. So behavior analytics will tie to insider threat mostly. So like I already told you, first line of defense is the SOC. They have to be capable of understanding the behavior of the guys in house. Okay, if you are not known, the biggest challenge for every organization is what we call insider threat. Okay, this is like a Judas who is laughing with you, eating with you, but you never know their intentions. Of course, insider threat is divided. There are those that are actually intentional, that we call malicious. But then there are those that are third party, of course, those ones who come and work within our organization, but they are third party. Yes. Then there are those ones who do stuff, but they don't know. For instance, a staff who might click a link without really knowing that, I mean, this is a bad thing. So there are those categories of insider threats, but you have, as a SOC analyst, to be able to detect certain patterns. Now, this is where such tools are going to come in very handy to see the behaviors. Now, that's where the behaviors come in. Analyze the behaviors, but there has to be a bottom line for what behaviors show suspicion, okay? Then what behaviors do not show any kind of threat or risk. So very important, just like the other tools, it's just among those, it's like a chapter in the Bible of the SOC. You have to have this knowledge of being able to analyze the behaviors. But we are in a beautiful world today where most of these things are done for us by the tools. The guys who started these things back in the days, just like the programmers, they used to do it bare metal. But today we have tools, and especially now with the advent of AI, we have NDRs and EDRs that are so AI in nature that literally you are sipping your coffee from morning to evening, and it's doing for you a lot of work, right? Yeah, but it's important that you have this also in your toolbox, and also the skills to work with them.
Yeah. So what works best in terms of investigation? Open source tools or paid tools? Or where do you lie? Are you an open source guy, or paid works way best?
Well, let's say that both of these have their place. Okay, both of these have their place. Let's say open source tools like, for instance, Wireshark. Then there's tools that we have, CyberChef. They give you incredible flexibility and customization. You see, with open source, most of them actually have. If you are good with coding, you can also customize it in a way that you want it to work. Yeah, but even if you don't know how to work with that, still they offer you very good, great, and incredible flexibility in how to use it in your environment. Then the paid tools like I remember I mentioned Splunk among the SIEMs, then CrowdStrike, Palo Alto. These bring automation, but they bring automation with advanced analytics that can save you time. You see, these are guys who are trying to make money out of their ingenuity in developing such tools. So they are going to develop for you something that you as a customer will appreciate. Okay, everyone is so concerned about their reputation, so you will expect that a paid tool will come with a very good offer in terms of functionality, capabilities, and so on. Yeah, but I think if you're starting out, it would be advisable that you go open source, because I mean the paid tools are not for everyday guys. It's for enterprise level groups, for just like organizations, but individuals, you may not find it really cost effective to go for a paid tool if the open source can do for you. So I would advise, if you're just still starting out in the field, please, your open source tools are your best friend. And then of course we don't expect a bank, for instance, the UN, to use open source tools. Does it mean that they're not good? I mean, there are those that are quite good. For instance, let's say Kali Linux. Yes, Kali Linux is a tool which has tools. That is okay. You can use them. Wireshark, why would you say, we really have money? Why are we going for? No, Wireshark is also another very great tool. But now, when we are talking about really tools that you want certain specific outcomes from, for instance, let's say endpoint security, network security, you are not going to go for open source, because the open source, remember, they are just working on the nations. Firewalls, I mean, why and intrusion detection systems. You don't go for the open source when it comes to that. Okay, try and go for now for the paid. So I would recommend for high stakes enterprise environments, what is efficient for them would be, I think, the paid tools. And these paid tools, I can assure you, they are hard to beat when it comes to certain high-end offering in terms of capabilities. So if you want my answer, the real answer, I think a mix of both.
Okay. So we talked about certifications. What works? Which ones would you recommend if someone is beginning and they're just starting up and you're like, this is what you would be very key, especially when it comes to beginning. You're looking for a job, all those things in the middle. What do you think would be beneficial, especially for someone starting?
Well, I think for starters, entry-level ticket, I would say CompTIA Security Plus. That is something good for you to start. It gives you, and also where there is certified in cybersecurity, which actually is free. You only pay something small for the examination. Yeah, and then there is certified SOC Analyst, that's CSA by EC Council. Not pricey actually. You can also do this as that is for a starter. That's like starter pack for the ones who are intending, to start off with this. Yeah, so if you can do this, I mean, it gives you already a step into the field. Yeah, then my advice for the guys who are maybe like in mid-level and like mid-level analysts, what I mean by that, people who have done maybe 2 years, 3, those are now mid-level. Those are guys who know what they're doing they have been in the field, they know what's up. So those ones I could recommend incident response mastery certifications such as GCIH or JAC certified incident handler. Now that one is for the guys who are now there because they understand these things. They have faced incidents already before and responded to them. Now this just makes them better. And then I remember telling you that as a SOC, it's good also to know what happens on the other side. So I would recommend CAH. That is essential red team mindset for you as a SOC analyst, because you need to also be having that mindset of how that other bad guy attacks. You don't only try to understand how you defend and defend. What are you defending? You need to know how the other guy attacks, what he attacks, what your environment looks like, and what is the best catch in your type of environment. Okay. For instance, what I mean by environment is if you're in a financial environment, what are these they are the catch points that attract the threat actors, so you understand how they attack those those weak points in a financial organization or in a financial environment. What about in the health? What's it that the threat actor is always looking for? So you understand those, then you understand what are those TTPs, okay? Tactics, techniques, procedures. What are those that they use to try and come into the organization? Understand.
I
Now, if
think
you know, yes, please.
I think you're trying to rotate around mostly MITRE ATT&CK framework when it comes to that. I think, yeah.
Yes. So that's a framework that's also very important for you to put in your toolbox. Yeah, there are so many. You can't count them all, but the MITRE is very important for you also to have the MITRE ATT&CK framework. It's very important. So it will teach you the mindset from the other side, but it gives you good footing to defend against this, the threat actors. And then there is, for advanced levels, of course, it is important to, now this, of course, now goes for the guys who are now leadership. Remember, I was telling entry and then mid-level. Now for the leadership level, it is good to do, because there you're not now going to do practical stuff by the way. It's more of telling you how to deal with these things from top level. CISSP, Certified Information System Security Professional, is a insights on how to deal with. Remember now at this level, you're not trying to go operational. Okay, you are doing things at top level. Okay, so it's important for you to do now. That is for advanced. Don't think of it now if you're not still at that level, but CISSP is very important for you. And then OSCP, that's Offensive Security Certified Professional. Now, you'll be like, why offensive? Like I told you, have the mindset of the attacker. Have always the mindset of the attacker. If you do not have the mindset of the attacker when you're defending, you are finished. Okay? Make sure you have the mindset. But now these two are for the leadership level. When you have done your entry level, you've done your mid level. Now, this at some point, now that's for guys who have done cybersecurity for over 6 or 7 years. Okay. Now, those ones can have this because you're not doing this at operational level. Now, this is at a level that helps you open your eyes. These are insights for you to see certain things from certain angles and helps you how to protect your organization. Yeah. So these are not conclusive, please. Don't say that, okay, now you mean these are the only ones. No, these are just some of those. There are so many certifications, but these are the ones that I would recommend you to go for. But pick what aligns with your goals, please.
You have not talked of any ISACA ones. Season is a very good one.
Yeah, of course. Like I already mentioned, I had to put a
Not you
disclaimer.
had to put a disclaimer.
I had to put a disclaimer because they are there. But you see, if when we start throwing them right now, we shall need
Yeah, definitely.
more than a sack. We shall need now containers upon containers to put them in
Yeah,
there. But
yeah.
you're very right. CISA, CISM, all these, man, these are good things for you to put there. And please, if you can manage to amass these things, put them in your arsenal. Just let them be in your portfolio. They'll work for you. They'll really work for you. You'll go places with these. Cybersecurity is the in thing right now. So you have these things, trust me, you will be very thankful in future for amassing them and putting them in your portfolio.
Yeah. So now, if someone is not yet moved by what you're saying about SOC, if someone is still coming in with this aspect of not believing that it's a marketable thing, so how would you tell them, is it marketable as someone who is wanting to be a SOC analyst? Is it something which is easily marketable, and how steep is the learning curve?
Well, I think I just almost answered that a few minutes ago. If you're talking about marketable, absolutely, of course, this is the in thing. Anything cybersecurity right now is the in thing. I mean, who doesn't want to defend their territory, digital territory right now? So every organization, as we speak now, want to have eyes in what the bad guy is doing. Okay, so it is something that I will recommend for anyone any day to attempt. For those who have not yet found themselves in this and they're still, thinking whether I should do this or should do that. I will say, if you have the interest and passion, first of all, let's talk about passion and interest. It shouldn't be something imposed. It should be interest, first of all, and you have to have the passion for it. Now, those are the two driving forces that will push you upwards in the field. So, cybersecurity is not going anywhere soon. Okay, so threats are increasing every day. Companies are always hiring SOC analysts because, let's be honest, hackers don't sleep. You don't expect cybersecurity to just go off or SOC to disappear one day, because the hackers will have a cake day. If SOC is eliminated from the scene. So just know that SOC is here to stay. Cybersecurity is here to stay, and I recommend, please, come into the field, but let interest and passion drive you. You were asking about steep. Yeah, the learning curve is steep but manageable. It's manageable. But of course, if you're curious and you love puzzles and can handle pressure, you've heard that part? If you can handle pressure, then you will thrive. Yeah, just know that it's a cat and mouse kind of thing with the bad guys. Yeah. So curiosity comes into the analytical part of it, where you're trying to ask questions. That's where you're analyzing, and then because it is a game of puzzles, I'm telling you, this is a game of puzzles. It works your mental capacity. Yeah, but if you love these things, then you can also handle pressure. Please just know you will thrive. You will thrive, and of course, the key is the hands-on practice. If you really get into the game, make sure that you're good at in the hands-on aspect of it. Yeah, but all this is driven by your passion and interest in it. You cannot just be good in something unless you have the passion and interest. So, and also I advise, of course, when you get into the field, please set up your own lab, play with logs, and that will keep you learning. Do the try hack maze and all those other
Platforms.
yes, these all will keep you learning. And also, it's okay. Sorry, it's okay for you to get mentors, okay? Get mentors to direct you with how to roll in the field. Otherwise, navigating it on your own won't be that easy. But like I said, steep but manageable.
Manageable.
Yes.
Yes. So, any final thoughts for our audience, those who have joined in, and those who, all the different calibers, from those who want to become SOC analysts, those who are SOC analysts, managerial level? Any final thoughts for them?
Stay curious, practice relentlessly, never stop learning. Okay. Now, cybersecurity is not just a job, it's a battlefield. You know, like I initially told you something, we are in
The
the
front line.
fight. Yes. So you are in a battlefield. So you cannot put down your guards. Don't put off your gun. I mean your knife or your gun. Stay with it. Stay alert, but stay curious. Practice relentlessly and never stop learning. This is like a chess game, okay? And try those rooms in Try Hack Me and every other platform that can keep you, growing in the field, okay? And remember, the best SOC analyst is not the one who knows everything, but the one who knows how to learn and adapt. So always remember that you cannot know everything. And this goes also for the guys who are already mid-level and at the top already. There is a book one time I read. It's called "I'll Marry When I Want." Of course, it is not in the context of marrying, but it's a political book. There is I read it like over 20 years ago, but I remember that part where it says, even the wise can be taught wisdom. So even while you're already a man or a woman of many years of experience, you will not know everything. Okay? You will still learn. You will still need to adapt. So please, those are my final thoughts. Learn and adapt. Thank you.
Thank you. When you said over 20 years ago, you even showed your age there, but it's okay.
No worries, no worries. I mean, it's supposed to be known when I actually read this, but those are things that stick with you and really guide you in your life's journey.
Yeah.
Yes, it is very important.
Yeah. So, thank you for coming on the show. And I'm sure everyone who has come on and has literally spent time with you and with me here, I've learned a lot when it comes to SOC. And not knowing that it is, people don't usually take it seriously, the defensive part. Everyone wants to hack. They don't know that there's a guy who is defending every morning. Yeah. So with that, I would like to end the show.
A fun ride.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much for hosting me.
Thank you. Yeah.
Bye.